So we're talking about books again. Hello everyone, I'm Rosa. Welcome. Today we are talking about books again. What's new? I don't know, I get really excited about stuff that I've read or want to read, so I just want to share it. And today I want to talk about the books that I am planning on reading in October. At least it's a very optimistic TBR list. So let's just put it like that. I'm probably not gonna manage to read everything because I think there's like 20 books on this list. However, I want to share with you guys because I've been wanting to join a readathon for a while. I missed Aurelium, which was this month. So instead, I am doing Vampathon, which is, I'm gonna put it in October. I don't think it's actually bound to 1 month, but I'm gonna do it in October and I'm gonna tell you guys about it. And also, I'm planning to do weekly vlogs throughout October in connection with the readathon as well. So everything is just tied together. Yes. And also this is hosted by, among the ones that I know at least, is Mika. So I will link to her channel in the description down below if you want to check her out. And also I'll make sure to link to their Twitter as well, so you can go check that out as well. Anyway, some of the books that we're talking about today, I actually mentioned in my haul video that I did last week. But some of them, I would say the vast majority of them, I probably didn't talk about. Also, some of them I don't have as physical copies, but I'm gonna tell you guys about them anyway. So if you don't know what a readathon is, it's basically where you get like a bunch of prompts and then you have to find a book that fits the prompts and then you're reading that for the month, and then you get several prompts so you can continue reading different books. So they have a total of 16 prompts and I've had to find books that sort of fit these prompts. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna make my own order of how I read these books. I'm gonna put like 1 to 16 in a number generator, and then I'm gonna let the number generator decide which one that I read next. And we're gonna go for spooky books and horror books and mysteries, and it's gonna be fun. So yeah, let's get started talking about my October TBR and also Vampathon. So the first prompt was a book to sink your teeth into, and for that one I want to sink my teeth into all my books. So I don't really fully know if there was like a meaning behind it or something, but I went with The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones, which I'm still not fully certain on what's about. But seemingly it's about two siblings that are gravediggers in a city, and in the city the dead don't always stay dead, which they might cause some issues basically. And so my guess is they have to kind of solve, like, there's supposedly a curse on these dead bodies that are called the bone houses, by the way. My guess is they kind of have to figure out how to lift this curse and solve whatever mystery is going on here, but it's supposed to be a horror and I'm super excited for it. Love the cover on this as well. It is just, I don't know, the color combinations, really, I love this. Like, I feel like I matched this book today. Yeah, I do. You and I, we're gonna vibe, okay? We're gonna vibe. But that was The Bone Houses. Next up was a spooky middle grade book, and I don't have any middle grade books at all. So I literally Googled spooky middle grade books because I'm like, I don't want to miss this one. Yes, let's try to read some new genres. Middle grade is not something that I am used to reading, so I figured, you know what, let's just try it. And Coraline by Neil, I think is his last name pronounced Gaiman? I don't know. But Coraline. I don't actually really know what Coraline is about either, but I know that a lot of people are raving about it. I also know exactly what Coraline looks like. She's a bit of a style icon, if I may say so. So anyway, I'm gonna read out loud the synopsis for this so that I also can learn what it's about. I think that would be good. The day after they moved in, Coraline went exploring. In Coraline's family's new flat are 21 windows and 14 doors. That's very specific. 13 of the doors open and close. The 14th is locked. And on the other side is only a brick wall until the day Coraline unlocks the door to find a passage to another flat in another house just like her own. Only it's different. At first, things seem marvelous in the other flat. The food is better, the toy box is filled with wind-up angels that flutter around the bedroom, books whose pictures writhe and crawl and shimmer, little dinosaur skulls that chatter their teeth. But there's another mother and another father, and they want Coraline to stay with them and be their little girl. They want to change her and never let her go. Other children are trapped there as well, lost souls behind the mirrors. Coraline is their only hope of rescue. She will have to fight with all her wits and all the tools she can find if she is to save the lost children, her ordinary life, and herself. So yeah, it sounds super cool. Kind of creepy, kind of spooky, or a little bit spoopy maybe. So, but I'm gonna read that as a Kindle since I don't have a physical copy. A spooky middle grade book, check mark. Next up, a straight up horror book. So for that one, I went with House of Holo by Crystal Sutherland. I still love this cover so much. This is basically about 3 girls that disappeared when they were younger. They came back, their hair color had changed to all white and their eye color had changed to all black. They kind of became like celebrities in this town that they're in, or maybe in the whole world, I don't really know. Or at least 2 of the girls become famous because the 3rd one kind of want to be a little bit incognito. She doesn't really want to do the famous life. But then one day, the oldest one of the sisters disappears and the other 2 kind of have to figure out, where did she go? What happened to her? So I think that's basically what the book is about. Yeah, that's basically what it's about. I am looking forward to this. I think I said in my haul video that I've actually never read a horror book before. I love horror movies though, like that's a whole thing. I love horror movies. We could talk about that at some other point, but I've never read a horror book. So I'm excited. It's gonna be fun to try something new. Next up was a book with blood on the cover. And at first I thought I was gonna, because I'm getting a copy of Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff at some point, so I thought that I was gonna put that under that prompt. However, I don't actually know if there's blood on the cover of the version that I'm getting. I'll show you guys soon. So I had to go look a little bit. And I found American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. I have read a big chunk of this, but I'm gonna start over because it's a while ago. It's supposed to be like all white and then there's a bloody thumbprint down here, so that's where the blood is. I don't know if you can even see, like, can you even see the cover because it's just so white? But this was turned into a movie, actually a really freaking good horror movie, if I may say so. It's kind of like a psychological horror, if you will, and I don't even know fully how I'm gonna explain this because I know the story so well. I know that there's a lot of like rants but like thoughts in this book as well, which is, I remember that from reading it. Patrick Bateman is basically, he's the lead character in this book, and he is, I want to say he's a psychopath. I mean, American Psycho, it kind of makes sense. He's also a businessman, and there's this whole like, they're super snobby. It's also commentary on like, oh, what's that culture called in the 90s? I forgot what it's called. It's like a snobby businessman culture in the 90s. I forgot the term for it. I'm gonna see if I can find it while editing this video. But it's also kind of commenting on that. So everything is just like, looks wise, it has to be perfect. There's a whole, you're probably, if you remember the movie, or even if you haven't watched it, there's a whole thing about business cards as well being so important and the smallest details just being like big deal. So yeah, but Patrick Bateman also has some secrets because he kills people. I'm looking forward to this so I can actually summarize it properly because I don't really know how much I can say about it, but yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this properly this time. Also, I have a little pop collection. I have like 3 horror characters, and then I have Sorrow. So Sorrow Man from The Lord of the Rings. But I got this one recently, and this is Patrick Bateman, and I love it. He has his axe and his little raincoat. So yeah, I don't know. I've said many times on my Sims channel that I love horror movies that I meant it. American Psycho by Bret Easton. I think that is how his, no, Bret Easton Ellis. That's gonna be fun, but there's blood on the cover, so we're gonna go with it. Yep. Next up is another book that I don't have a physical copy of, but the prompt was a book with paranormal and supernatural romance, and I am going with Rapsodic by Laura Talassa. I don't know if that's how the title name is pronounced. I'm making room here so you can see the cover. And I don't actually fully know what it's about other than I think it's about a siren and a fairy possibly. See, when I saw the cover, I was like, oh yeah, that is 100% a vampire book. It looks like a vampire book. I am so confused, except from the fact that there's a wing on the cover and I only just noticed literally right now. What? That's a wing. Whatever. It's fine. I'm gonna read out loud the synopsis so that we can figure out what the heck this book is about. Calypso Lillis is a siren with a very big problem, one that stretches up her arm and far into her past. For the last 7 years, she's been collecting a bracelet of black beads up her wrist, magical IOUs for favors she's received. Only death and repayment will fulfill the obligations. Only then will the beads disappear. Okay. Everyone knows that if you need a favor, you go to the bargainer to make it happen. He's a man who can get you anything you want at a price. I just accidentally closed down my Kindle. Go back. And everyone knows that sooner or later he always collects. But for one of his clients, he's never asked for repayment. Not until now. When Callie finds the Fae King of her night... No. Oh my god, stop doing that. When Callie finds the Fae King of the night in her room, a grin on his lips and a twinkle in his eyes, she knows things are about to change. At first, it's just a chaste kiss, a single bead's worth, and a promise for more. For the bargainer, it's more than just a matter of rekindling an old romance. Something is happening in the other world. Fae warriors are going missing one by one. Only the women are returned, each in a glass casket, a child clutched to their breast. And then there are the whispers among the slaves, whispers of an evil that's been awoken. If the bargainer has any hope to save his people, he'll need the help of the siren he spurned long ago. Only his foe has a taste for exotic creatures, and Callie just happens to be one. So I think this is slightly smutty. I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't really know because honestly I've not looked into this book too much, but the prompt was a romance, so I'm gonna go with it. So yeah, Rapsodic, I think Rapsodic? I don't really know. I don't know. Anyway, by Laura Talassa. Alright, next up, the next prompt was a spooky graphic novel / manga. And the only, don't fall down. The only manga that I have is actually Tokyo Ghoul Volume 1. Which, if I may say so, there's a chopped off arm right here. So I feel like we got like this, if this is not spooky, then I don't know. So I feel like I might have hit the jackpot, and also I've been looking for a reason to read this for the longest time. I bought it like months and months ago. So yeah, Tokyo Ghoul. I don't really know what it's about though, other than I think there's a virus in Tokyo. Anyway, Shai Kaneki is thrilled to go on a date with a beautiful Ritze, but it turns out that she's only interested in his body, in eating it, that is. When a morally dubious rescue transforms him into the first half-human, half-ghoul hybrid, Ken must survive ghoul turf wars, learn more about ghoul society, and master his new powers. It sounds super fun, so yeah. And slightly spooky as well. I think I hit the jackpot, honestly. I don't think I could have found another manga that fit that prompt better. Correct me if I'm wrong, because honestly I don't know much about manga. I just want to get into it. I just haven't done it yet. So I'm excited for that one. Okay, next up was a blood... No. That doesn't... Never mind. A book where blood is used as magic. So I thought about this for a little bit and I figured Serpent and Dove would be a perfect example of that because there's literally a blood witch. We also have Game of Thrones where there's a little bit of blood magic as well, but just like a little bit, like a sprinkle of it. But I don't really want to get into Game of Thrones right now. And I just finished reading Serpent and Dove. So instead I actually had to Google this too because I did not know this. I put A Darker Shade of Magic on all 3 books because apparently, I hope this is not a spoiler, I don't think so, but the thing that lets Kel transport from the different, like between the different Londons, the thing that kind of fuels his magic is blood. I could be wrong about that. If I am, don't tell me because I'll still read these books. I'll just ignore that I got the prompt wrong, but also I feel like it's difficult to figure out a book with blood magic without you actually knowing it before. Yeah, you get what I mean? Like I wouldn't have known there was a blood witch in Serpent and Dove without reading Serpent and Dove. So, but anyway, this is about Kel who lives in, we have like 4 different Londons in different colors. We don't talk about Black London. Something happened there. I don't know what, but I hope I get to figure it out while reading the book. And Kel is a person who can, unlike many other people in these Londons, he can teleport between the Londons. So he is both, he does this for the Empire, I think, or whoever runs his London, but he also does it as a smuggler, and unfortunately he lands himself in a situation that is not good, and then he has to I think he's rescued by a girl, and then he owes her a favor, and I don't really know other than that, but I'm looking forward to reading it because everyone loves this book and I'm sure I'll love it too. And I'm also planning, if I get this prompt, I'm gonna read the second and the third one as well. I have something in my eye, it's super annoying. Anyway, A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. Looking forward to reading those books so much. Next up was a book with a gothic / spooky cover. So I am gonna go with another Kindle one because honestly I don't really have any spooky covers anywhere. I'm looking at my spooky shelf down here. I don't really have a lot of spooky covers per se, so I found one that I thought would fit. Honestly, I feel like it's spooky. It's called No One's Home and it's by D.M. Pulley, but I don't really know what the book is about. It's probably an adult horror, so I'm gonna read out loud the synopsis. It says it's for fans of Haunting of Hill House, which honestly is a TV series that, oh my gosh, I love it so much. I have rewatched that series so many times. I know that the series is only inspired by the book, but anyway. Margot and Myron Spielman move to a new town looking for a fresh start and an escape from the long... I just closed it down again. Stop doing that. Looking for a fresh start and an escape from the long shadow of their past. But soon after they buy Rawlingswood, a foreclosed mansion rumored to be haunted, they realize they're in for more of the same, or worse. After a renovation fraught with injuries and setbacks, the Spielmans move into the century-old house and their problems quickly escalate. The home's beautiful facade begins to crumble around them when their teenage son discovers disturbing details of Rawlingwood's history, a history of murder, betrayal, and financial ruin. The Spielmans' own shameful secrets and lies become harder to hide as someone or something inside the house watches their every move. As tensions build between the family members, the home's dark history threatens to repeat itself. Margot and Myron must confront their own ghosts and Rawlingwood's buried past before the house becomes their undoing. So, it's a haunted house book. Sounds like a horror. The cover is super spooky. I've probably shown it. I'm gonna show it again. Because there's like a house with it's dark and there's only light in one window, and honestly, that seems super creepy to me. If I came home to a house where no one's supposed to be home and there's light in one of the windows and I know that I turned off all the windows, I'm gonna leave. I'm not going home. I'm just gonna go somewhere else. I'm not going in there, okay? So, No One's Home by D.M. Pulley. I'm looking forward to it. Next up is a book with a gothic setting. So first of all, I have two books for this one actually. The first one is Lake's Edge by Lindell Clipstone. I don't have a copy of it yet, but it's actually on its way here, which is super exciting. So I'll have it probably like halfway through October. But as far as I know, this is like a horror romance. It's YA, and it's about a girl who I think inherits a gothic mansion. I'm gonna just casually throw in gothic in there, and it's haunted. It is haunted, but I think there's a love story in there. And also I think it's actually supposed to be at least a duology, if anything. Oh, it doesn't look like she actually inherits the house. What am I thinking of? Who inherits a house? I think I'm mixing it together with a different book. But she arrives at this mansion. There's either a ghost living there or he's an actual person and he's supposed to be a monster. Not a very good person, but as it turns out, he's not actually awful. And it's not so much the house that is haunted, but the surrounding area. And I'm looking forward to it. It sounds like a good book. I know I'm not selling it very well to you guys, but I have not read it yet, so I don't really know. There's a redhead on the cover. It's important detail, okay? So I'm looking forward to that one. It's gothic setting. The house looks super gothic on the cover. Looking forward to it. But the other one that I have is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which I've not read yet. I love this edition as well. Look at it. It's so pretty. The penguin ones are so cute. But it's supposed to be a feminist gothic novel as well, and it's a classic. Looking forward to it. So, passionate, poetic, and revolutionary. That was a weird way of saying that. Passionate, poetic, and revolutionary, Jane Eyre is a novel of naked emotional power. Its story of a defiant, fiercely intelligent woman who refuses to accept her appointed place in society and instead finds love on her own terms has become famous as one of the greatest romances ever written, but it is also a brooding gothic mystery, a profound depiction of character, and a transformative work of the imagination. So I know that doesn't say much about about the plot, but I don't actually know if it does say anything about the plot. Oh, Jane Eyre, an autobiography. I'm gonna feel so sad about bending this book. I am so sorry. Before I get started reading, I am so sorry. How many pages are in this? She's thick! I'm looking forward to it though. So yeah, Jane Eyre, Gothic, feminist, romance novel. What's not to like? Next up, we have a thriller murdery mystery. Or thriller murder mystery? A thriller slash murder mystery. I completely ruined that. I don't even know. But I decided to go with Stalking Jack the Ripper. I don't really know if this is per se a murder mystery, because technically in murder mysteries you're not supposed to know who's the murderer, but it literally says Jack the Ripper in the title. Did I fail this? I just feel like out of all my books, this is probably the book that fits that prompt the best. So I'm gonna go with it. And if I get that prompt, I'm also gonna read the other 3 books that are not on the shelf. They're on the other side of the shelf. But basically, this is about Audrey Rose, I think her name is. She is from a wealthy family. She has, there are expectations of wealthy females, women in society at this point. She's supposed to be married off and basically just take care of the house, cook, you know, that sort of thing. Super exciting. But Audrey has other plans because she really likes to learn about autopsies and stuff. Stuff that includes tools like these, okay? I think she's with her uncle who's doing these autopsies. I think it's her uncle, but I'm not really sure. However, she kind of ends up in, like, there's a string of murders. I'm guessing this takes place in London. And there's a string of murders and suddenly she's drawn into that. So sounds like a murder mystery to me, except if it's Jack the Ripper who done them, because it's literally in the title. But I'm gonna go with these books anyway for that prompt. So I'm excited for that because honestly, I bought these books for October, so I better get that prompt. Oh, they're by Carrie Maniscalco as well. I forgot to say that. And the next one is a book with witchy vibes, and I have a few ones that I could have gone with. I decided to go with The Wicked Deep because as far as I know, there's some mystery horror to this book as well. We got some paranormal stuff in there. Basically, a while ago, 3 women who were accused of being witches. I'm sorry, unalived. And I believe that every year they come back to unalive someone as like a revenge on this town for unaliving them. So we're following a 17-year-old who is kind of drawn into this. I think there's a dude who comes to the city who's not really aware of what's going on, and they're drawn into this and lots of secrets, and the rest I don't know, so we'll figure this out. The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw, is that how you pronounce her name? Shaya Earnshaw? This seems like a perfect October read to me, so I'm looking forward to it. And next one, we have another classic that I've not read yet, but the next one was a vampire book that was turned into a movie. I only really have a few vampire books. I love vampires. I don't know what it is. They just nocturnal and they're super pale. I feel like there's some kind of, I can relate to them in some way. I don't drink blood, just want to point that out. Anyway, but it's the nocturnal aspect of it. I just feel like I can relate to it in some way. So I have had Dracula, you have to say it like that, by the way. Dracula by Bram Stoker for a while. I have not read it yet. This is about a guy who, don't fall down. My books are kind of like a little wobbly right now. But this is about a guy who visits Count Dracula in his London home and makes a very horrifying discovery. I believe there's some murders too. We have puncture marks on a young woman's neck. I don't know where they come from. Who knows? An unmanned ship is wrecked in Whitby, and there are some inmates at an asylum that are kind of going a little... They're concerned about a person. Or it's just one inmate that's concerned about his master. I've actually not watched the movie either. I haven't. I think I've seen like one scene from it. That's it. So I don't really know what's gonna happen in this book, and I'm super excited. Dracula! You have to say it like that. I can't help it. It's happened by now. Dracula by Bram Stoker. Another fantasy, but what? Another classic that I've not read yet. Are those roses? Oh, they're just flowers. If you haven't seen the cover, they always have these like little drawings and stuff on them. Super pretty. So that is my vampire book turned into a movie. I figured that one was perfect. And then we have a book with a supernatural main character. And for that one, I'm actually gonna go with Empire of the Vampire. I know that I have a copy that is on its way to me right now, so I don't have it in my hands in this very moment. but I will have it at some point during October. I don't really know what it's about. Except there's a lot of trigger warnings for it. Apparently, it's also very adult. Empire of the Vampire. It's by J. Christoph. So, from holy cup comes holy light. The faithful hand sets world aright. And in the seven martyrs? Sight? Is that how you say that word? Mere man shall end this endless night. It has been 27 long years since the last sunrise. For nearly 3 decades, vampires have waged war against humanity, building their eternal empire even as they tear down our own. Now only a tiny few sparks of light endure in a sea of darkness. Gabriel de Leon is a silver saint, a member of a holy brotherhood dedicated to defending realm and church from the creatures of the night. But even the Silver Order could not stem the tide once daylight failed us, and now only Gabriel remains. Imprisoned by the very monsters he vowed to destroy, the Silver Saint is forced to tell his story. A story of legendary battles and forbidden love, of faith lost and friendships won, of the wars of the blood and the forever king, and the quest for humanity's last remaining hope, the Holy Grail. Is he actually a vampire? Now I'm kind of wondering if he's not. He looks kind of scary though. I'm gonna just assume that he's supernatural in some kind of way, because like this dude looks kind of scary. If he's not, I'm just gonna find another book and I'll update you guys on that. But I was so excited for this book that I basically just put it there, but he might not actually be a supernatural main character, which is kind of awkward. So if he's not, I'll just find another one. I'll keep you guys updated. Anyway, then the next prompt was a book that frightens you. And honestly, my nose is itchy. Honestly, books don't really frighten me at all. So that one, I literally spent like 45 minutes trying to figure it out. I was like, should I just choose a very long book? Like I have It standing there that's like 1400 pages and the length of it kind of frightens me a little bit. Or should I go with one like The Song of Achilles that I know is probably gonna make me cry? Tears frighten me more than horror does. I don't know, there's probably some kind of issue in there. I should talk to a therapist. But anyway, so instead I decided to basically just go through all Stephen King's books. And I have a thing with like gaps, like keyholes, and suddenly you see an eye on the other side, or just like a door, like a gap in a door. Doorway, and there's a face. So if you've ever seen the cover of Misery, which I know the story of it, it's a novelist, a famous novelist. I think he's quite successful, but he basically ends up in a car wreck. Is it on purpose? Who knows? But he's taken in by someone who seems to be a stalker, and he's kind of forced to write for her and stuff. It's messed up. I'm looking forward to it, but I decided to go with that book because on the cover there's like a tear in a piece of paper and there's an eye on the other side. So I basically just went with that because I feel like it fit the best. Yeah. And then the last prompt. Okay, that was 15 prompts. I feel like I missed something. I'm gonna go with 15 prompts. But for the last prompt, it said a book set in school. And I have 2 examples. I have Ninth House by Lee Bardugo, which takes place in her version of Yale. Is it Yale or Harvard? Yale. Okay, good. All those schools just seem the same to me. I don't know. But there's an unsolved crime. Apparently, I think a girl is unalived. Oh yeah, it's about Alex who goes to Yale, and Alex is a sole survivor of an unsolved crime, and at some point on Yale, a girl ends up dead, and there's a whole mystery there. I'm pretty sure there's some fantasy in there too. There's a snake on the cover. I don't know why. I'm excited to find out. So, ooh. There's a society that both tamper with forbidden magic, raise the dead, and sometimes prey on the living. So that sounds super spoopy. Yale is a school. It fits the prompt. It's even dark academia. Perfect October read. And then the other one that I went with was, which is not necessarily spooky, but it takes place in a school. And as far as I've heard, it's also supposed to be a little bit dark academia, which to me sounds like good October or just fall in general reads. So I went with Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I hope that's how you pronounce her last name. I'm Danish. Names are hard for me sometimes. I think this is an Arthur and the Round Table, or King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. King Arthur. Let's just go with King Arthur. What is that story called? Wait, what? A King Arthur reimagining that adds seats to the round table. What's the story about? Let's read it out loud. People are loving this book though. After her mother dies in an accident, 16-year-old Bree Matthews wants nothing to do with her family memories or childhood home. A residential program for bright high schoolers at UNC Chapel Hill flee out of school seems like the perfect escape until Bree witnesses a magical attack her very first night on campus. A flying demon feeding on human energies. A secret society of so-called Legendborn, students who hunt the creatures down. And a mysterious teenage mage who calls himself a Merlin, and who attempts and fails to wipe Bree's memory of everything she saw. The mage's failure reveals Bree's own unique magic and a buried memory with a hidden connection. The night her mother died, another Merlin was at the hospital. Now that Bree knows there's more to her mother's death than what's on the police report, she'll do whatever it takes to find out the truth, even if that means infiltrating the Legendborn as one of their initiates. She recruits Nick, a self-exiled Legendborn with his own grudge against the group, and their reluctant partnership pulls them deeper into the society's secrets and closer to each other. But when the Legendborn reveals themselves as the descendants of King Arthur's knights and explain that a magical war is coming, Bree has to decide how far she'll go for the truth and whether she should use her magic to take the society down or join the fight. So, it sounds cool. A junior library guild selection. Possibly very YA. But it sounds super cool and the cover is just beautiful. And I think this means that it's gotten an award. Yeah, just congratulations. So yeah, we have a Yale but also a high school. And those are my books for October. So I hope you found something in this video that you might like to read in October. Let me know what books you're planning on reading. Are you also going full out on like horror, mystery, thrillers throughout October? I did the best that I could with my library and also with Kindle. So I'm looking forward to it though. A lot. I don't know why I put though in that sentence. I'm looking forward to it a lot. And like I said, I will be doing weekly vlogs along with the readathon so that I can update you guys along the way, but I'll still be doing the wrap up at the end of the month as per usual. I love doing these like book talk videos. It's just, I'm so excited to read my books and I'm so excited to sit down and talk about them. So I'm looking forward to it. But anyways, that is all I got for you guys today. I'll make sure to link all the books in the description box down below so that if you want to check any of them out, you can do that by clicking on the links. And look forward to an unboxing of these two boxes soon. I'm just missing my subscription box and then I'm gonna go all in. So I'm looking forward to that so much too. Anyway, that is all I got for you guys today. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please give it a big thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you're new and you want to hang out a little bit more. Talk about books with me and whatever else we do here on the channel these days. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!